We are CEOs, executives, educators, and professionals from all sectors of society who support the global expansion of betterment in the world through joy and JOYELY. I am your host, Sheryl Lynn, founder of the Chair of Joy Experience. Together, we have developed the World Council of Joy, and our council invites CEOs and innovators from impactful organizations to the JOYELY podcast. We showcase how generous, bold, and fully engaged they are in their work and what a culture of joy is to them. We are live, and I am here with the amazing John Burd, and he is the CEO. Are you currently a CEO or are you a retired CEO?
No, I was retired for a while, but I got really busy a couple of years ago. I have two new companies where I'm CEO.
What are those?
Well, my mantra is finding natural solutions to big healthcare problems. And I have two companies that do that. One is Lysulin, Lysulin, and the other is Wonder Spray. And if you go to my website, which is on my picture there, which is www.jburd.com, there are links to both of those websites. And you want to probably go there because Wonder Spray is www.thewonderspray. And if you just type www.wonderspray, you go to another product, which is pretty a crazy product. If you want to amuse yourself, you can go there too. But
so I did read a little bit about this, and you seem to be really passionate about supporting diabetes and the support of ridding that, right? Am I right?
Yeah, diabetes is such a huge problem worldwide. And it's also tragic because, there are basically two types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. And type 2 is basically a lifestyle disease. And you can thank a conspiracy of the government, big pharma, the food industry, and the medical community for all the problems we have with type 2 diabetes. It's because of their crazy recommendation for a high carb, low fat diet, which is just upside down, like that crazy pyramid the government came out with back in the 80s. Ever since they came out with that pyramid, diabetes and obesity have just skyrocketed. And it's because it makes no sense. Glucose is toxic. We need it for energy, but it's also a reactive chemical. It's like cyanide. And we're basically poisoning ourselves with glucose to death, literally. And that's why I'm so happy that I started these companies to help people with that problem. We can eliminate type 2 diabetes if we could get the government involved. But I've written emails to every living president, the secretary of human, blah, blah, blah. Never get a response. I always tell them, if you want to have a real legacy for your administration, have a war on type 2 diabetes. It's a war you can win, not like the war on drugs and cancer, which we've worked at, but haven't won. But anyway, but I got interested in diabetes in the start because I was named after an uncle of mine who had type 2 diabetes, and he died from the complications of diabetes. And as I've gotten older, more and more of my friends and family have developed diabetes, but they're being helped with Lysulin. So that's so gratifying and so satisfying.
Before we get any further down this road of all that you've created, which is absolutely phenomenal, I would like to know who you are as a human being. I see that you went to the University of Wisconsin. I don't know if you know that I'm in Wisconsin, so I'm glad that we have that in common. But who were you as a youngster, and why did you decide to pursue a degree and become a doctor?
Well, I actually have a Ph.D. in biochemistry. I went to I was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, a small working class family. I didn't have two nickels to rub together. My dad was an electrician and my mother was a telephone repair person. And I went to high school there, and fortunately I wasn't planning to go to college. I just assumed I'd get a job at International Harvester or something that's in Fort Wayne. But it turned out that Indiana University and Purdue University built a regional campus in Fort Wayne. And when I was a senior in high school, everybody was talking about going to the regional campus for college. And I thought, I might as well go there. So I registered, and I thought I wanted to be a chemist, but it turns out that my SAT score was too terrible to allow me to be a chemist. So I said, well, how about biochemistry? They said, yeah, you can do that. So that's how I became a biochemist. So I got a bachelor's degree in biochemistry from Purdue, and then I went to University of Wisconsin where I got my master's and Ph.D. in biochemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been working in developing medical products ever since then. My first job was at the Ames division of what was then Miles Laboratories, and they were purchased by Bayer. But when I went there in the 70s, they were just introducing the first products for people with diabetes. The first product was a urine dipstick test to see if you had glucose in your urine, which means your blood glucose is too high. And then they developed a finger stick blood test for diabetes, for blood glucose, that you had a little meter that they sold. And there was always a lot of talk about it whenever we had a corporate meeting. So I knew it was a big and growing market. And then I managed to start my first company in diabetes back in 1990 or so. We ran out of money there, so J&J ended up buying the company, but nothing much happened with that product. And then I was fortunate enough to join a venture capital firm. Wanted to do something in diabetes because, one, it's such a big problem, and two, it's such a big market. I found this technology in Wisconsin again. A small group there, 4 people, had developed a continuous glucose monitor. And I convinced them to form a new company with me as the CEO, and that was DexCom. Stands for dextrose communication. Dextrose is another name for glucose. And that company has been just a huge success. And there's over 2 million people around the world now using that product to help them better manage their diabetes. So I couldn't be happier. And I constantly get emails and meet people, and they say, oh my gosh, I love that DexCom. It's really helped me to better health. And it's like, nothing could be more satisfying, I swear.
Have you sold that company?
I wasn't involved in it after I started. I was there from 2000 to 2003. And then we hired a new CEO, and he came in, and he actually made the company really valuable. It went public in 2005, and it's still publicly traded. It's a standalone company, still publicly traded, but I haven't been involved in it for like 15 years. But I'm so thrilled with how successful it's been.
Where was your biggest success? What in your life? What would you lay your fame, your hat, claim your fame to?
It's really, DexCom is my biggest, both financial and personally satisfying success. But my new companies, both of them, Lysulin and Wonder Spray, I couldn't be happier with these products either. They're all natural, no side effects, and they work better than prescription drugs. And actually, Wonder Spray kills COVID-19. It's on the EPA list for disinfecting for COVID-19. So that's really fabulous. That just happened a month or two ago. And another big piece of news with these companies is we just launched a weight loss meal replacement shake at Lysulin, so people can lose weight and better their diabetes management, all with a once a day meal replacement shake. So things are going well. If I could just find some investors, it would be perfect, but they're hard to find.
Absolutely. I'm curious what you think about the keto diet.
Oh, I love the keto diet. I'm a big fan of ketogenic diets because that basically they recommend the exact opposite of what the government recommends. And they recommend a low carbohydrate, high fat diet. And if you do that, you get a lot less glucose in your bloodstream and a lot less problems. So if you combine a ketogenic diet with a little bit of fasting and a little bit of exercise and Lysulin, you can reverse diabetes. And if you go to our website, we've actually got a tab where we work with a doctor who's got a program who can reverse diabetes and get you off of your diabetes drugs. And it's helped thousands of people. It's so gratifying.
You are in love with what you're doing because you've seen results. And I think that gives you a lot of joy. So what is it that you, tell me a success story who was very impacted by what you're doing? And I know you said you get emails all the time, but is there anything specific?
Well, I can tell you my favorite story, which is when we launched the product in 2018, my brother Charlie emailed me. He's my older brother, a few years older, believe it or not. And he said, oh my gosh, I went to the doctor and I've got type 2 diabetes. And the way they determine if you have diabetes is with a blood test called the A1C test. And it gives your average blood sugar over the previous few months. And he said, my A1C was 7.4, and anything above 6.7 is type 2 diabetes. So I said, and of course, this doctor did what doctors do, write him a prescription for a crazy drug, which I said, Charlie, leave the lid on that bottle and try Lysulin. He did. And in 1 month, he went from 7.4 to 6.1. And in a few months, he was down at 5.2. So he basically didn't have type 2 diabetes anymore and never had to use those drugs. I mean, so that's my favorite story. And there's actually a video on a website that talks about my brother Charlie and how Lysulin helped him so much.
How do you take Lysulin? Is it just in pill form that you have on your website, or is it another way?
No, thanks for asking. Actually, it's available as capsules, chewable tablets, liquid, and powder. And the liquid and the powder are the easiest to do because if you take the capsules or tablets, you need to take 6 a day, and that's quite a few.
Yeah.
And the liquid is only 3 teaspoons a day, and when you can take those all at once. And the powder is just 1 little scoop in a cup of water. And then you have our new weight loss meal replacement shake, which is just 1 scoop once a day and 8 ounces of water, and you shake it up, mix a tasty chocolate or vanilla shake. So that's how you take it.
That's awesome. And I'm on your website, and it is Lysulin.com. Is that how you say it? Lysulin.
I say it Lysulin, like insulin, only with Lysulin. So people have a hard time pronounce it. Yeah. And basically it's called Lysulin because the main ingredient is the amino acid lysine. And what it does is it prevents the glucose in your bloodstream from reacting with all of your proteins in your eyes and your nerve endings and your kidneys. And instead the glucose reacts with lysine and you just pee that out. So you get rid of all that. So it's kind of like a sponge. It soaks up glucose.
I cannot wait to buy it. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And where can people buy it?
It's available on our website at Lysulin, Lysulin.com. It's also available on Amazon and on Walmart.com.
Wow, you are a mover and shaker. So I want to know you a little bit better. So have you had many employees over the years?
Have you ever dropped your phone on the floor, on your face, or in some other embarrassing place? Don't you wish there was something you could attach to your phone case that would help you hold your phone so you don't have to, or at least as much? Introducing Steady Straps, a comfortable, adjustable, strong, elastic strap with 100% Velcro brand closures that helps you hold your phone more securely without dropping it and use it easier and faster, especially one-handed. It's the only smartphone grip accessory without adhesives, and it's 100% wireless charging ready without having to remove or adjust it first. Check us out at steadystraps.com and order some today.
Oh, yeah. When I was at Miles back in the 70s, I went back as a research scientist after I got my Ph.D. And we were working on some new technologies, patented technologies. And it turned out that the thing that I was working on really worked. It was for clinical lab testing of therapeutic drugs. So if you take a drug like theophylline for asthma, you need to have the blood levels in a certain range, like from 10 to 20 mgs per mil. And we came up with a new chemistry that allowed people in the labs to do that determination. I'm thrilled by the fact that in, I guess, 2005 or 6, I won the Ullman Award for innovation in clinical chemistry, and that got me into the Hall of Fame at the AACC, American Association of Clinical Chemistry. I'm sure you know everybody that's in that. But that was so I had a big lab there. I mean, I must have had 25 people reporting to me there, and that's probably where I've had like 10 or 20 people reporting to me at a couple different companies. My new companies is not very many employees. It's mostly consultants just helping me with managing the website and with digital marketing. I've only got like 2 full-time employees at Lysulin that manage the warehouse and the shipping. And Wonder Spray, the other company, you're looking at the chief cook and bottle washer. I take care of everything. We have a warehouse where we pay people to ship product to people, but we don't have any employees. We just have a web manager and a digital marketing expert that helps us get it noticed on Facebook and places like that. Because really we're doing only viral marketing. We don't have any bricks and mortar stores. And it's really hard to get into those stores like Costco and Target and CVS and those places. And that's the classical retail model. And thank goodness for Amazon and Walmart.com, because it's a lot easier to get there and they see a lot of people. I mean, I'm like a Amazon. I need to have a AA, Amazon Anonymous. It's like I love shopping on Amazon, and it's so easy to buy products and get them shipped to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I asked about employees is the conversation that we're having with CEOs and who's listening today, which is really focused on CEOs, is that the development and focus of things other than productivity and sales and everything that goes on with your KPIs is that when you focus on joy, it elevates the vibration and more things come in. I'm wondering from a clinical or biochemistry scientific background, how you feel, what you think about that.
Well, I can tell you that I certainly feel joy when I hear from people that get benefit from our products. And I'll give you an example for Wonder Spray. I had a woman contact me. She had skin acne type issues for 30 years. And her nose was all scratched up, and she had to wear a kind of a nose cover. And she hated to go outside because she looked so terrible. And she'd tried drugs and surgery and all sorts of things over the years. And she called me about 2 weeks after I sent her some Wonder Spray at no cost, of course. And she said, "Oh my God, I am so thrilled. My skin problems have improved so much. I no longer have to wear that bandage on my nose, and I feel comfortable going outside now." And she was in tears early, and I was too, because when you can bring that kind of joy to people, well, you can tell from I'm getting all emotional myself right now, but it's so fantastic to bring good things to make people happy, to bring them to better health.
I want to stay with that for just a minute. Your work that you just described has created that level of joy for you. My work is when you focus on that joy more often, that the investors will come, the sales will come. So from a neuroscientific perspective, I wonder if you could talk to me about if you were to focus on joy. I know you do, but others focus on that level of understanding and that vibration of joy, what that would do for people's lives.
I think so, but the dilemma is how do you communicate that to people? How do you communicate, join the Lysulin family and experience the joy of better health? I mean, that's really what we have to say. So, and in fact, that's a good tagline. I'll suggest that to our digital Facebook person, that they actually focus on the joy of better health and what it can do for you. That's a great point.
Isn't it true, Dr. Burd, that in the end, all we really want in life is more joy. And that's why we take amazing products like yours. And that's why we take vacations. And that's why we work hard. And that's why we get investors. That's why we do all these things. That joy is really the ultimate. And we're really, you and I are on the same path. So that's great. I think that you should use that in your tagline. That would be good. Can I give you just one little practice that we work on that really supports people in finding more sponsors and more goals and more dollars and more zeros? So if you put your feet on the ground right now, just put your feet on the ground and just really feel your toes and your feet and your shoes. You got your shoes on today or no?
Yeah, I got some slippers type shoes on. Yeah.
So just taking a minute and just feeling your feet on the ground really brings you into presence, right? This is where you're stopping, you're stilling. So instead of your bowl being upside down and nothing being able to get in, you're taking a moment to just be still. And that's where sponsors, investors, sales, productivity, all that stuff comes in. So just take a second, feel your feet on the ground, and then look around, see what's in your office, all your trophies and your awards and then also listen. What do you hear? Like I hear the wind blowing, I see the lake rippling.
Yeah, and actually, unfortunately, I've got the two places you mentioned, my feet and my ears. I had a motorcycle accident back in 2009, and I broke my pelvis, and I lost the feeling in my toes, and my right foot came back. My left is still kind of has that kind of feeling. I can't just kind of describe it. And then my hearing also. My mother was stone deaf for most of her life, and I've unfortunately I got my mother's hearing genes because I've lost my hearing about 10 years ago. And it's amazing to me that Medicare doesn't pay for hearing aids, since it's such a huge problem experienced by so many older people, and it's expensive too. So
Well, it seems like you're doing really well. You're functioning amazing. I think you have a lot of joy, and that's showing up in your products and who you are and what you're offering, and people are responding you to that. So if you could talk to other CEOs about how it is that you can continue and maintain such amazing success, what might you say?
Well, I'd say, when you start a company, you basically are looking for a big market with a patented product, if possible, and you want to bring it to people at the lowest cost where the company still can be successful. And if I was talking, and I've worked with, I got a friend who he had got a master's degree in business and finance, and he was determined he was going to be an entrepreneur and start a company. So I helped him, and I gave him a little bit of money. It was, again, in the diabetes space. The company didn't succeed, but it was fun working with him and seeing him trying so hard to make it successful. And that's satisfying too. If you can help other people with advice, why not? If you can help people, it'll come back to you tenfold. So you can't beat that.
That's great advice. May I ask how young you are?
Yeah, I wish. I was born in 1946. Actually, Bill Clinton and I have the same birthday, same year, same day, different mothers. And I'm, what does that make me? About 70, 75 or 6, something like that.
And you're just producing new companies. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely. Congratulations. Good for you. So I would love to work with you on both of these products. I think they absolutely need to be in everybody's hands and understanding. And we'll talk about that at another time. But I just want to thank you for your time today. And if you could stay on a few more minutes, we'll talk some more. Is there anything else you'd like to say about this experience today, or anything else to CEOs?
No, I'm so appreciative of people like you helping me to spread the word about these fabulous natural products. So I can't thank you enough for taking time to interview me. Thank you very much.
I think your legacy in the world is, to tap into the continued impact and growth, or the diminishment of diabetes. I think that's what you will be remembered for.
No, thank you. Actually, it turns out I wrote a book about Lysulin. It's called The Natural Solution to the Diabetes Epidemic, The Discovery of Lysulin. And I love that picture of me. Pictures are getting a little bit old now, but anyway, that's available on Amazon if anybody cares to have a look at it.
I'm definitely going to get it. And I should have gotten it before my interview, but I just got back from Costa Rica, so I apologize for that. It's been a little bit of a family time, but anyway, I absolutely look forward to learning more. So stay on with me just a minute, Dr. John Burd, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.